A historic guilty verdict by a 9-member jury on 24th March 2022 was handed down nearly 18 years after a student was sexually abused by a teacher at a learning institution. On Monday, April 11th, a press release from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions identified the defendant in the case as Fons Arlette. Following the news of the guilty verdict, many pundits had called for the establishment of a sex offender registry. Outspoken activist and president of Raise Your Voice Saint Lucia, Catherine Seelys, has also added her voice to the ongoing debate.
Everybody is now talking about a sex offenders registry. The legislative reform that is required to enable us to have this sex offenders registry will also include rehabilitation and psychiatric help services so that people will be truly rehabilitated and changed. And then when they come out of serving, when they finish serving their sentence, they would have been different people.
Amid talk of a registry, what's about the corrective and rehabilitative measures at the lone penal institution to help reform convicted sex offenders?
When they leave jail, people should still be concerned about their behavior. So the question we need to be asking, will the Bodily Correctional Facility provide the right rehabilitation methods and everything else so that person comes out rehabilitated? Number one. Number two, is the system of justice in Saint Lucia such that it provides that kind of rehabilitative service to offenders and people who have been convicted of serious crimes like that?
Arlette was indicted by the Director of Public Prosecutions on one count of unlawful carnal knowledge with a female aged 11 years old and a second count of unlawful carnal knowledge with a female aged 12 years old, contrary to Section 215 of the Criminal Code of Saint Lucia, 1992. The president of Raise Your Voice Saint Lucia says the lack of rehabilitative programs for offenders should be of grave concern. She has painted the BCF as a revolving door of recidivism.
We all know people go to jail. There is no structure, there is no rehabilitation, there is no program in the jails to make people better people, and sometimes they come out worse.
Seelys drives home the importance of shoring up capacity to rehabilitate sex offenders who are often released back into society without the attendant guardrails.
We must have professionals who know their job and not somebody that come up through the ranks and they just happen to have the job. We must look at people who are trained in rehabilitation of offenders. We must start to rehabilitate offenders. So all we are doing is a circular in jail, out of jail, in jail, and out of jail. And the same goes for the Boys Training Center. The rehabilitation methods, the people who work there, the systems does not work there. And we continue to bring out people, young people into this environment, into the society who are not rehabilitated, and this must be looked at.
The convicted sex offender is scheduled to be sentenced before the High Court on May 27, 2022. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions also informed the public that while the prosecution of child sexual abuse cases, like the historic matter, is not common, there is no statute of limitation on indictable offenses such as sexual intercourse with a minor, rape, or murder. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.